No, that was an interview with Karen.
Sorry. Yeah, you sound repetitive for some reason. Wisdom and Geshe.
Obeisance to my
Lord and protector, my Geshe, of us in this house and of his understanding of thought. Teach us in 6 ways with the patience of our Father who is on the sun. All creatures caught in the prison of samsara, confused in the darkness of dream, around by their suffering. Use who stand in the rises and strip of our delusions and phrases for the iron chains of our God. Whose powerful sword of wisdom hews our suffering wherever it sprouts, the darkness of all ignorance. I entreat you, my Geshe. You've completed the 10 stages, achieving the highest perfection of the Buddhists. You've been pure from the beginning. O man Geshe, loving one with the brilliance of wisdom. Illuminate the darkness of closing my mind, enlighten my intelligence and wisdom so that I may gain insight into the Buddha's words and actions.
Sangye
Chandan Sopi Chanamba Chachoba de Gami Kyasuchi Chachi Chinegi Sona Jola Vishi Sangye Joga Shu
Sangye
Chandan Sopi Chanamba Chachoba de Gami Kyasuchi Dagi Chishi Sona Jola Vishi Sangye Joga Shu
Sangye
Chandan Sopi Chanamba Chachoba de Gami Kyasuchi Dagi Chishi Sona Jola Vishi Sangye Joga Shu
Hangi tozenye zone tawa tangji pambi chere tangi chin tenje kodam kela chanze. Good morning, everyone. Something, it's not the big of us, because it's lots of it, right? Lots of it. Then you got the Tuxum net, Nimic Chish, danger with main companies. They Kijan Zamlin, not name Lachema, Tada swimming pension, Chonum Ninas.
So we're going to continue with the second chapter, teaching now the way to lay down negativities. We are looking at a section that explains how to do that using the 4 powers of the antidote. Out of them, we've covered 3. And yesterday we started, did we cover 3? Yeah. And yesterday we started with the power of thorough application of the antidote. We began with the first verse in that section. Let's look at the outline. Maybe this. So, sorry, that's the third part that we're covering. So, we started the first section that explains the reason it is reasonable to make effort in purifying negativities. We are looking at a section under point 1, the need to quickly purify negativities as illustrated by the analogy of disease. Yesterday, we've covered this, stating the meaning of the analogy, and today we're going to pick up from verse 55 that comes out of the heading of their great disadvantages to the disease of the 3 poisons, in addition to the medicine for destroying them is rare. Let's look at the wording of the verse. Just a second. Even a single one of these destroys all humans of Zambuling, if one does not find a different medicine in all the directions to cure it.
Zamni koran madeva chiyagi, ani chuyag kiyana soha chiyagi, nasa chik sayag, ani pen shuntu kumbu yimbayina, that dedan javigi, ani nimu kiyati shutong sayag, that samalo, ani jomshiki men, that dili kumba chayagro asro.
So the section is not that complicated. Geshe reckons that it's quite easy to get the meaning of this word, of this section. So, sickness are afflictive states of mind, the 3 poisons. A mind is affected by them since now without beginning up now. Medicine for them is rare. This is a serious sickness. So, for example, if you just think of one thing, like we have, for example, anger. We have that, and anger is one example of sickness, right? That's one of the sicknesses. So when we look at the sickness that a mind is being beset with, we can say that actually there is a variety of illnesses that are affecting a mind. Anger is one of them, that which creates so much disturbance for everyone in the world. The medicine for that is rare. So even more so, those sicknesses that affect the mind, even more so we can understand how rare the medicine for them is.
Manzu Benada Zangi Debi Gorgina Teon Zamin Marchin Campo de Nivase Soba Kanji and Zamanin Nalaya, that's Kui Tochum Chair Soba, and Jakapa Chubasheri, Mimabu Shuji, Messiah the Saya, Penachi, and that got Marat Tiji, Messiah that Mambu shoot and repair and Master Time Soba Yungia was this song to something cultures long he so Dechari, control and it's Choshe Mabel Soba. Dindi only Kanchi Ran Gil Shempum sound Dindiji Tony. The Nazara that is Dindiji Tonta and in your heart there was Mato and Tanda Pardo and it's Chanzig Ton in your dress Java, Ninji Ton in your dress Java, Sheriff Ton in your dress Java, Zawani Mevas rock.
And this sickness of the three poisons has the ability to obliterate the whole world, to completely eliminate this world. And we can see that. We might not think about it like that, but if we start to pay attention to that, to think about it, we can recognize this point. Particularly when we look at historical events, the historical narrative, World War I and World War II, different disasters we inflict upon the environment, conflict between different countries, border disputes, and so forth. Leaders, dictators that are responsible for the killing of millions of people. So when we look at least at the historical context, we can see the responsibility of attachment, of anger, a lack of contentment, trying to gain our own victory at the expense of others, at the expense of others. So we can see how all these sicknesses, all these illnesses are solid problems, or all the problems in the world are attributed to that. They are not attributed to loving kindness, to compassion, to wisdom.
and Chigchilaya, and Chig Soba Gomyari, Chigchilaya, Chanzig Tayala Soba, Tinjig Mandang on it, and Chesani, and Zambling Koran Truyunguri, Chani, and Chig Messari, Soba Chinchun Jimbaina, and Kadu in the Tamandu on there, Chigchilaya, in the Dumashigon, Dumatugon, and Pasha Nine, Social Nine Sansan, the Chechin drawn. And
we can see that also in our personal life, how we experience different problems, different difficulties, and we experience them not only in the world by and large, but when we look at also affects our family, our family unit, how sometimes when we cannot bear with situations, certain issues which might be quite trivial, which causes us to think of ourselves, like this is how it affects me, this is my situation. So we can see how not only by and large when we look at the world, but also when we look at a personal situation within our close surrounding, we can see how those afflictive states of mind are those which are affect us. So just a second, since the people are complaining about the quality of the broadcast. Right, so it's still, I'm wondering for the people, is it still pretty patchy? We can try to get. So there are two internet connections. I don't know which ones you are connected. Generally, you can speak to broadcast. I'm connected to the Goma. Sorry? I think it's one. So the people at home, is it still patched or very patchy? We can try to reset the modem. Yeah, we'll try to reset the modem. Frozen peak and dodgy sound, probably dodgy people. Muted. All right, so we reset, thank you. So we reset the connection. I'm wondering if it's better now? Better. Stronger and better.
Great again.
All right. You may continue.
Okay. Tirdadinza and Tadinji Natsadi Karsota Natsa Tindiji Wangi and Nanzu Taman to a Chagadas, Nanzuta and Tojudas, and D Nanzu and D in the Dimji Natsadi and Jumba Chiji, Taji and Menda Menkanta which Inguras, Menda Menkanta which Inguras, Tinza, Taji Tambupi Menkanta with the any Taji Natsa Delia, any Mixi, Chereba, any Debakatin Jenki, and Ma Labsa Nasha, Lobjon Chesaki, Tenny in Pihipi, Menganda which Chagoras.
So we spoke about the sickness in a mind stream. So if the sickness that affects a mind stream is so harsh, it is so difficult, we need to find ways to destroy it. For that, we need medicine, and we also need a hospital for the mind. So the hospital for the mind would be what allows us to study the teaching, the advice that the Buddha gave. That is the hospital for the mind.
Things that Caso, then also Pena, Sajad Dita, somebody, in Alzuchi, and the Chuzo di Nasa di Jumbo Chisagi, Manganta, yeah. One is not Manganta, yeah. Kurgo Ross, rock, and Chadam Musum, and Rangi Shimpinki, Sambo be there. And Jumbo Chisagi, then Manganta Uchia, Kurgu Yovalaya, Samsalaya, and D. Dosho Chado Chado the Chivana, and Samalo Nanzuza Mayuba, and in Godjawra Muchinri, Lama Savara Muchinri, Samalo, Tubong Moyagi, Shito Chuan, Hachang, Komburas, is an to the Namakundu, and the Zeus and the Shan. Junju Stone, Junju Bishon, Koran Gomat and Tumbi, and some Stani, and Chigilea, Kuzi, Chigilea, Tunam, and 수수수 까보게 내가 가리는 디 돌에 슈게는 줘봐이나 난 상황이 탁두기 레스치에 레트로 왔어 마도지 아니 수주도지 파주지 엔주지 수조대바나 완전 나차도 롱사기 싫어 타바나 아니 빼마서 탑교래도 왔어
of a clinic for the mind, a mental clinic. Well, we can consider a center like that, a Buddhist center, to be a mental clinic in which we can address our own afflictive states of mind, anger, attachment, and ignorance, seeking our own victory at the expense of others, at the cost of the defeat of others. So these are the states that we want to destroy in our mental clinic. And when we look at how we behave sometimes, it seems that sometimes rather than using this facility, this mind clinic to destroy the states of mind, we use them in a way, we use it in a way that is opposite to that. So if rather than working here on destroying our own afflictions, we behave in a way that is opposite to that, it would be something that would be so disheartening, not only to ourselves, but to our spiritual teachers. To begin with, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and to Kyabche Lama Sopa Rinpoche, and to our other teachers. It would be something that would be completely disheartening for them. So rather than doing that, we want to train in adopting a way of thinking that conforms to what Shantideva says here in his Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life. To engage with each other in appreciating each other, in trying as much as possible to find ways to be harmonious with each other, to work in conformity with each other. Otherwise, if we do not do that, then in our approach, we become critical or adversarial to each other, then we are creating this very foundation for this sickness, for illness. And that would be such a great sense of loss if that would happen.
자와도 좀 디디 and 행간 디는 게 and mention about 시신 야 간지 and 내요 따위 시신 and 드라이나 and 상황을야 펜토 투게 연구를 왔어 모두 까고래야 and 먼저 테스트 and 현장을 잡을 수 있어서 배나 먼저 남대쇼사기 먼저 캡처사기 캡유기 산지점 된들이 너무 지원이 딱 자갈 때 상황들이 dinang 그 갑된기 아니 야스점 쇼를 따위는 아니 딘지 또비 용된기 이 용수 축되는 기고 담바지 제되는 마사스인지 와 아니 페위어스 아니 먼저 하던 단디기 딱지 먼저 달 아니 무슬람들 나는 결혼 시다고 잠블이 가와가 패밀리 라니 테모 자체니 그 위치는 패밀리 마도 베지 아니 나인 삼성 치치니 아니 뽑아키는 자인 배우는 거스로 아니 대신기 아니 라마소로시 대신기 술을 펜토토는 텔레페티 아니 난시 배우다스 타는 무슨 존재야 가주스 장경ችን 배우도 먼저 뒤쪽 진주로 왔어. 먼저 뒤쪽 진주 뒤쪽 제수 주마도가 먼저 찍찍이 나와야지. 아니 지 왕여도 지 공부인도 스타일도 욕도 나한테는 아니 초치하면 거 삼성 딘지를 차로차로 제거서라. 저는 뒤쪽에 넣었어.
So then in treating a place like that, like a mind clinic, we have here a community of monastics, we have monks and nuns. So in that sense, if we are in a mind clinic, we can consider ourselves to be like the staff members of this clinic, in that we're helping others, we're assisting others in taking the treatment. So whoever we might engage with here and elsewhere, our role is to be of help to others, to assist others in overcoming the sickness of mental afflictions. So then when we think about it, for example, then when we go for refuge, of the objects of refuge, we have the Buddha, the Bhagavan. Not only the Bhagavan, but also the Indian Pandits, like Shantideva, who had a great expansion in terms of qualities of realizations. And through that expansion of qualities of realizations, we enjoy the teachings of the Buddha, the Bhagavan, the Indian masters, Shantideva, and so forth. Not only them, but also the one that we sometimes meet directly or face to face, like, for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who gives teachings in different places around the world. And we can see from the way that His Holiness interacts with others, that it is always done on the basis of respect and appreciation. His Holiness travels the world, and whoever he might meet, he would meet them with a humbling gesture, putting his palms together and greeting people, rather than adopting a haughty or attitude of pride. He always interacts with others with that sense of humility. But not only His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but also Kyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche. Also, wherever his help is needed, wherever people are asking to be of benefit, he would do that immediately. But not only with other people, you can see how he's also concerned about other living beings. If he's walking somewhere, if he's traveling somewhere, he would always be careful in wherever he walks, making sure that he does not harm the life of others. So those are the spiritual teachers that we follow. So as followers, if we then adopt a different attitude, we become bossy. We use the power, or we try to gain power so that we can wield it over others. It is a mistake. It is not right.
Tergeza ani tabkin tuji chembo de democratin chengi and kimji ye natsa dujati ye tachi ani tuyu tundu ji nalo la ya ani jump to ya ta ani me ani sue nang chen shayowas ta me yob samji ki benata chitang de tamaru nele ya hingmaros me chengi ki ani me sheba 아니 내요 야고 고고라스타 디체도다 나조 당들레신 아니 고올리스 그 아니 이제 아니 배 아니 다 민들이야 되어라스타 나조야 텐치 나조 제고야 맨도 마트지 모고야 맨도 소리지 깨니 아니 조대바나 자원님 때문에 소수미지 카초다 자원님 충분다스와 인자 나조에 Johnny Marshall, Mendy, Susuka, Jang, and D, and Susu say, and Michibula Pilia, and Susula Nasa Yachin, meeting the Judevana, Nasa the Shama Cordoras, and Susu men say, Miller men Jevana, Ranjini Galaya, Pemich, Rock, Tinsan Wanzugi, Sanjivi, Lavzalea, Labicavia, and Rangi Juturia, and Shana Paya, some Nixon Tang Jovana, that. Any Kadina ko, and in Jipajimato, Chaman Jibaji, Yungsibares. Someone Nanda, Pilaya, Chichilaya, same thing could sit down, Gashen down, and it chip, Pardon the chip, maybe two dear, and it temper chip, and Lombardin and the chip, Sanji temper, and the chisel deal to a sound down. Kaduna ko Chaman Jibaji numerous, contradictories. Then on Mantu, something Yongro Chedi, any Chetan, the sound on the tone, no, Gachajata.
So we follow the kind and skillful teacher, the one that was skilled in means, and he provided us with this medicine that in a short span of time can destroy that sickness of afflictive states of mind. So just like an ordinary sickness that needs a certain treatment, and even though a medicine would be available, a patient might still need to have the assistance of a team of skillful nurses in order to apply the treatment. So should we regard our role in the application of a treatment to the mental application, to the mental afflictions. So we became monastics, and as monastics, we have gone through a certain process. We wear the robes, we shave our head. We have a certain code of behavior, and yet if we don't help others apply the treatment or the medicine, not only if we refrain from assisting others in taking the medicine, if we give them the wrong medicine, like not the right medicine for mental afflictions, we might be giving them the wrong treatment. What purpose will we serve? There is no need to do that. So what we can do is to train our mind to a best stability, to take the medicine and apply it to our mind. Just like you could say with infectious disease, if your mind is beset by this infectious disease and you do not really treat it, in the company of others, that disease might be passed on to them. So conversely, we can say that we apply the treatment to our mind, and through applying the treatment to our mind, we also want that treatment to be passed on to others, to others to be infected by that treatment. So we want to use the Buddhist teachings in order to subdue our own mind, and through that, we also want to benefit others as much as we can. So if this is the approach that we take, it is a good approach. There is nothing that is wrong, that is not quite right with this approach. So we interact with others, and we want to do that on the basis of having a sense of appreciation to others, respecting others, in a way that accords with the Buddha's teaching. So we have an access to the Buddha teachings in this center, and we take it up. We engage with that in order to apply the treatment to our mind. And we can say with a great sense of certainty, 100% certainty, that this is not a mistake.
대다 단다 자외나와야 대치기간 잠블링 maybe look like what chenas the chetu야 but dindig 나자도 가리는 것 중에 딱 문진 투구라 찍자 말이 찍 세시장 비다 찍 아니 컨트롤 샤베는 배상을 샤베나 다 샤베는 그 디찍장도 왔다 디찍장 빼기 아니 슈즈 투구라 이거다 나눠서 어디기 지금 딱 상황 좀 어디 차단 모습 요소 좀 어디다 아니 someone to do because same shoes dinza su gilli chadam mosanti ani ya khasa ta chi tangjin cheba na ani the deep pancreas ro deep zambali na pancreas and lomba de la pancreas and soba de la pancreas and gas social pancreas ro sosu gigi ani nasa de la 아니 강고 제마치 당진 제마치비 아니 신 짠짠로야 카방 되게바나 아니 뭐지면다스라 디 먼저 딩성당 로여살스라
And this is the import of verse 55 that says, if all the people dwelling in Jambudvipa, in this world, can be crushed by just one of these, which means by just one of our afflictive states of mind, by anger, or by attachment, by animosity, and so forth, if they can be crushed just by one of those afflictive states of mind, you can understand the gravity of being put down, of being crushed by the great number or great variety of all afflictive states of mind. If all the people dwelling in Jambudvipa can be crushed by just one of these, and if no other medicine to cure them is to be found in all directions. So our mind is affected by anger, attachment, and ignorance. We have them in a mind stream, so we want to own them in the sense that, first of all, we want to recognize them and then to address them. And if we take care of our own continuum, we address our own continuum that is affected by anger and attachment and ignorance, it will be helpful to the world by and large, not only to the world, but also to the country that we live in, to the community that we belong to. And it will be helpful also on a personal level. So unless we really address those afflictive states of mind in our mind stream, if our attitudes will still be oriented externally towards others. We will still continue to blame others for whatever we experience. We will criticize them, we will turn against them, and as such, we're not going to be able to make any progress.
Tilda, because the kids children that are, that is so some carton use lavena. Susuka, then, there's a telege, Carrington Pento to tele and some done detolia and sugar, the missions. In the longer dinner you give and longer dinner layach and talk to you. Some stomach. Yashi di susu never there and susu the Nyambi and never stand to us. Mother and susu the never did. Then Matu Guzilla and some of the Devana and to Chola. In the then Chuso Dilla David, Chuso Dilla Pento to it. Not cartoon dinner something is Chidan Susulia. Lord John, and nobody indicate Kiyoma, Kanji somebody, some of them that's in town John Samala, Miller Makenia, new us, and Susu Kiwi Chagas. So, Susu Papa was in debt to it, young with us, the demons of young girls.
So then we take it on a personal level. Like, for example, Geshe says that although we're getting a bit off the topic, Geshe says that when he thinks about it personally, looking at his own situation, then the way that he thinks about it is with the wish to be of benefit to in whatever place he lives, to that place or to the people around him, to make efforts in being of benefit to others. That is the best way things are, he can use his ability. So otherwise, if you attempt to benefit others in ways in which you cannot really do it, then you might work hard on doing a particular thing, but it would be a futile exercise. So Geshe says that when he thinks of himself, then although he cannot be of a massive benefit in terms of studies or other ways of benefiting others, still he thinks that if he uses whatever ability he has to benefit the people, at least here in the place that he lives at the present, then at least if it's not going to be greatly beneficial to others, at least it's not going to be harmful. So then if you think about it like that, Geshe feels that your mind will be made happy and content.
These are the big that Nasadi, when we move to song in Nasa Sevadi, Savage Tower, maybe the Jumden Digi, then Shabby, Chambata, Zavata, Sherem Sofa, D. Tolly, and in Nasa the Serbo mother, Delhi Shambaji, the Sawasadi Sanisum Slava, the Kawalan drawing there, and near your maris,
So the sickness of the three poisons is treated by the medicine of loving kindness, of concern to others, and wisdom. We don't find that medicine elsewhere other than this. It is not found underground. It is not found on the ground. It is not found above the ground. It is also found within the treatment of loving concern to others and wisdom.
These are Nazad Savage, me and Chamber the Ninji, Sherry Sofa, Tenchi, Digi, Compalpan, Digi, and Susu, Melaya, to Savannah, and the Zamni Lavachi, and good summer go to this. And that Digi should Jayados, Kanji, Tatu, and so Pamachi, Gudia, and didn't go to us. Someone didn't go to us.
So we develop and increase loving kindness and compassion and wisdom. We take that medicine ourselves, and we also provide others with that medicine. And through that, at the end, we'll be able to stop problems and disturbances in the world, not only in the world by and large, but also personally, we'll be able to bring them to a stop.
대단히 되는 자주 선발라 인콘트롤다고 대단히 기장스 잠블리는 일 놓고 냐발라고 치고 네버친데 네버친 내 대다 수비 내 대다 수비 내 힘으로 남고 술수 그래서 간지 내 대단 점을 치르기다 님보 and main chodi and then you song shen that thing how you with that some be jigden mention and it's all in your maris so that.
Let's look at a commentary to this verse. It says, even one moment of anger towards a bodhisattva can destroy all humans in Zambuling and throw them into the lower realms. The medicine against this great sickness, meditating on the path and so forth, one will not find anywhere else apart from the texts that reveal it. If one cannot find it in any other place, such as the world of Brahma and so forth, then it is unfindable elsewhere and therefore rare. So we're looking at this antidote, this supreme treatment to the sickness of the afflictions. It is not found elsewhere. It is not found within this world or the worlds of Brahmas and so forth. It is only found within teachings of the Buddha.
아니 최소라야 밑에 미망이 용거라다 밑 상으로 용야 담부 레와디 지 라브자체다 아니 상으로 판사체다 간지 샘에 시디 용야 지키 체도더니 아니 내가 최저하게요 아니 까까래 미망한테 미망내가 되지 지 타마 튀어나오는 게 아니 로봉 그랑신신 튀어고에 차바이나 되니 토미기 아니 라마나도 소리 추조도 준비 고대 용수 잡았디 아니 매겨 차는다 쓰라.
We say that within the 6 realms of existence, the best working basis that you can find is the working basis of having a human body. We have taken that human body. So if we have that best working basis within this, the best of the best within the 6 realms of existence, and yet we live a life in a way that at the end, when we proceed from this world to the next, from this lifetime to the next, we do that with a mind that is unhappy and dissatisfied. It would mean that we have lived a life with a sense of loss. It would be a shame to live it in this way. So then when we think about this idea of the way that you live your life and how you don't want to proceed from this lifetime to the next with an unhappy mind, with a dissatisfied mind, we have people that, for example, many people that come here to the center, and when they come here to this center, to this organization, they come in looking for ways to increase their mental happiness and well-being. And for that end, they might stay here for some time. Some of them might even take up a job as a volunteer or staff member in different capacity. And sometimes it happens that when people finish their job and move on, they do that with a great disturbed mind. They think that was not helpful at all, or they have kind of this great sense of regret. So if this is how things eventuate, it is a real sense of shame, a real sense of loss, if that is the outcome.
That means that means someone will do that. That nothing other. The movie someone the truth is Jelaya, and it's some of the we need to some down to Maras. And Chozoya will be said, Chozo will be said that the Dingo Cabo will make a chimney, me, Chedan Digman Digby, and it will be Lenny Chematu, and Zavi Chozo for the Kapang de Chavana, and Kenny Digmas, Nandu Delia, and the Yawanji Koba Satanji Tommy Pepe, and Namsen Kia and so Lamus Koba Pass to Danzi Tommy Pepe, and the control side. So very young, the Gomba Tatu deep, and bed younger Chavana, then did do a chasson. Did it all? And then she said, didn't matter me, didn't she short of some other. So didn't she in me have muscles, and on some did stand.
And sometimes it's hard to work through the things that make you unhappy in a certain situation. And Geshe says that it is difficult because sometimes we cannot really, we cannot precisely pinpoint reality, recognize reality. This Geshe says that it is still confused sometimes with respect to reality. So then when you don't think properly about what is real and what is not real, you end up thinking about a certain situation in a way that is not helpful or not correct. So, for example, you might be engaged with a Buddhist center or a community like that, and things might not go your way or in the way that you wanted them to be. So you might be thinking that at the end that there's nothing good in that place. There's nothing good in the Buddhist center. This is totally pointless. That is a total waste. So you might be having some arguments with people, your coworkers or your peers. No, you might have disagreements with them, but at the end, you end up thinking that it's not the problem of having disagreement with the people, with your peers or the people that you work with. It's just that it's a problem of the organization. The organization is not good. The organization is a total waste and so forth. And sometimes we pick up fights with others on things quite senseless. Like, for example, we have here, for example, photos of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So we might take up an argument with another person with respect to the way that it is arranged or displayed, or the way that we have photos of His Holiness, and sometimes we start arguing with others about where to put them and how to put them and so forth. I mean, really, this is, you can say that although there might be some point in, kind of a better way of displaying photo of His Holiness or Lama Zopa Rinpoche, but picking up fights with others and quarreling with others about it is totally senseless. So that is also completely incongruous with the advice that we get from the teachers. So Geshe doesn't know if we find it a bit confronting, but at least this is what the way that Geshe looks at it.
추소디 왜 마스바더니 내가 지금 차렸어. 단디 바도 단도 배시 실주 방법주 마스스지 되느냐. 추소 쪽이 너무 디나로야. 라마 기비신이 가수스 된저 슈트였어. 아주 참 디상당로 됐어. 내가 오스트레일리아 나로기 같이เป็นยูเมคิซูรุชิเกนสรีเซบีอันนี้ดิชิมังเชจิทำบิลีอันชโลนี่เดนเจชูดิชุดดีกินเดนเจชูดัสก็ชุดดีกินลามาบิชิสังเกตมีแค่แบบเดนเจชูจิชุดดีคราโนอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแต่คิซูรุชิเกนรถจุดเยสชูดัสเดนดีรถจุดกี่เนี่ยตาสกีชโลเลยทำดีอันนี้เกี่ยวกับชูโยมาแล้วอันนี้ต่างประเทศเลยอันนี้ชื่อเสียลาวเชียร์แกรี่แกว่าจะแกรี่แกดูสนั่งจนชูดัสละแต่ดีแต่ดีเช่นนี้อันนี้ลามาดิวิชันนี่มาไม่ชูจิการขัดสกีว่าถ้ 파우드는데 배나 아니 겨울이지 아니 산는 데려야 덴데슈 미 동가 먹을래야 아니 그 추위 제가 토비어라서 그래서 아니 ren당 집어는 그 자원이 ren당 매주고 안 셋 못해야 딘지 짜심으로 왔어. 그 상황 최선될 때는 총이었어. 마음 바이나야 이 디징기 아니 최선 디톤이 아니 자가디 제투로 왔어. 인장만 그 까보고 말해서 내가 지금 주는 아니 산서 맞아와나 뺏상이었어.
So we've been here as Jim Isaac Institute for more than 40 years. We're actually approaching our 50th anniversary, right? That would be probably in 2023, 2024. So anyway, Geshe said 40, 50 years. And we have had many lamas, many spiritual friends that have come here to the center, that have visited the center. We have many Geshes that have taught here at the center, like, for example, Tsultrim, the ex-abbot of Bume Monastery, Geshe Tsultrim, and many other Geshes. Actually, many of the Geshes in Australia came to Australia initially through Shenrezig Institute. Geshe Tsultrim was here for 18 years, working hard in leading the study program. It's not that he was just kicking back and relaxing or traveling up and down between different places. It was here the majority of the time, working hard in leading the study program and also fighting for certain elements to be implemented within the study program. But not only Geshes like him, but also similarly Zones the Dalai Lama that visited the center, and there were many thousands of people that came to see Zones here when he visited Shenrezig Institute, and through that they received the blessings of the Dhamma, which is so invaluable when you think about it. So then, thinking about this history and also thinking about the way to proceed forward to the future, then we want to still continue to do that. If we can do that, then this is how we want to proceed. It's good to keep that in mind, because from time to time, when we're not careful about our interactions with others, we end up being adversarial. We end up with that sense of disharmony. And this is something that brings about a great sense of loss. It's a pitiful state.
다가싸우는 말이 왔어. 그래서 비 남수 싸우는 비기래야. 아니 냠차 마셔야 지금 송교 제거에 조지 뒤차고 와서 미수수수 아니 로 지금 수 가지스 내기에는 비고 가이나 그 사이즈 치고는 지금 중요히 싸우는지 뒤는 잘고 지금 중요히 싸우는지 넌 상황을 지금 괜찮네. 아니 퇴로되네. 그 추조도 내지. 아니 지식이 가서 딱 지빈이 감 만에 봐도 그 추조도 내지. 아니 넘어디 밀어야. 아니 지금 남주 돈 편도 채색. 아니 내 차와진지야. 아니 로트고에 돼. 난 상황을 이해했어. 난 상황을 이해했어. 남서는 지금 가고 있더라. 난 그러니까 그는 나도잖아. 아니 걔가 그냥 미신이지 미지 대를 샤야디 최소대로 됐지. 아니 난주 돈 핀지 토를 공 디샤르마도 셈파 가기지 말았어. 가기지 내가 용거 제가 바로 말았어. 이제 대단 제비 돈이지. 아니 소수 상수다. 박sam난다고 돈 용한 있으니 아니 내가 잘 친구야지. 근데 내 소수로 이나 아니 내들 소지 잘 됐어. 니는 돈을 지어 맞나? 아니 레귤러를 좀 말았어. 레귤러 좀 말. 사야 방에 대해서 그냥 되게 아니 리뷰 아니 최소 리뷰 되들려야 땅을 마땅하나 아니 간 레귤러 시에들 모두 대응하마디 아니 렌들을 좀 지겨 말았지. 샴지 차가라서. 인자 아니 그 샴지 인도서 이 사제들이야 덴드 요마스 라다들이
So then if you think in spending some time here, that I want to do it solely to bring about a benefit to myself. So whatever I can get for myself, that would be all right, and then I can proceed without having that sense of concern for others. That's not the positive attitude that you want to develop. So Geshe suggests a better type of attitude or motivation that you can have in engaging with a place like that. So in coming around, participating in the different activities, the idea is that you want to participate in activities so that you'll prevent a place like that from falling into decline, from deteriorating. You want to preserve it for future generations, to remain for a long time to come, because we recognize that whatever we might get from this place, at the end of our life, we will die and continue to our next rebirth, to our next life. And this is the nature of the world. People die one after another. Death cannot be avoided. So we then think that we have a place such as this, Chenrezig Institute, which has, it's a Dharma center, and it has the ability to provide benefits in this worldly realm for a long time to come. So we want to then engage in our activities with a place like that, and thinking that rather that I want to get that limited benefit for myself just for the duration that I'm here. The type of attitude is that so that it will remain for a long time to come, for many generations to the future, till the end of this worldly realm, so that beings will still continue to receive benefits from that. So this is the way that we take up responsibility. This is our responsibility in engaging with it in this way. So then Geshe said that when he thinks about it, Gyaltsen Lama Sopa Rinpoche appointed him to be here the teacher in that center, not knowing the language, not knowing how to communicate with people on a day-to-day basis, but still Lama Sopa Rinpoche appointed him to do that. And in so doing, Geshe thinks that in a genuine way, may he be able to be of benefit to people here with his body, in the way that he acts with his body, speech, and mind in the work that he does here. Otherwise, if he doesn't do that in this way, it does not accord with karma, does not accord with actions and the result that they bring. So if he becomes negligent about what he needs to do here, and if he has only a sense of concern for food, for his financial affair or what have you, without having any sense of concern or respect to his role here at the center, that doesn't accord with karma at all. Not only doesn't accord with karma, you can say that in terms of a disgrace, probably it is an uncomparable, unparalleled sense of disgrace that will bring upon himself. That would be the attitude that he would have.
That's sumba member chop then we song that do rebalance. So that you to song ne you to song seven chili and me and chan minji and chanju sen sofa and main doing member chop and song that do rebalance.
Having said that, let's look at the next point in the outline. Let's see where we are. So we've covered point B that came out of the heading of there are great disadvantages to the disease of the three poisons. In addition, the medicine for destroying them is rare. And the next verse, 56, says, thus it is reasonable to practice in accord with the words of the teacher, the supreme doctor. Because the disease is so severe, the disease of the three poisons. And in addition, the medicine for destroying them is rare, like, for example, the medicine of bodhicitta. It is reasonable to practice in accord with the words of the teacher, the supreme doctor.
That means that didn't help maybe any main chotelaya, main chopping, then be son telaya, that money any then be canazing that Mijing is Yavaina, that deep and 이모기 상황 교과를 마도 아니 생각해야 말이스. 뭐 생각해야 말. 단 연주 나도 같이 연주도 찍기. 아니 템비 송이야. 지송치. 템비 송다 같이 수수료가 있을 좀 같이 투버려야. 매주 마찬가지다. 화장 탐구 차고라서
So in that vein, the next verse says, and one thinks not to act in accordance with the advice of the all-knowing physician, which can cure all pain, then that is extremely ignorant in the object of ridicule. So, as the teachings of the Buddha are available, so we have the teacher and the teachings. The thing that makes us not take up those teachings and put them into practice is only our own sense of ignorance. So, looking at our situation, we do respect and value the teacher. So if we respect and value the teacher, and yet in our actions we don't take the teachings up and put them into practice, that is so pitiful. So at least for the monastics amongst us, monks and nuns, we, in our ordination ceremony, we came forward. You can say that we came forward in front of our community and said that now my role is to practice in a way that accords with the instruction. So if this is the proclamation that we have made in becoming a monk or a nun, then we might know if someone approaches us and says that you're not a real monk or a real nun, you're not doing what you're committed to do, we might get agitated, our face might turn red and so forth. But really, rather than kind of listening to just what another person is saying, if you look at yourself and find that you're not practicing in a way that accords with the instruction, in the way that you committed yourself to do when you have taken ordination, then that is a great sense of shame. It's different if you're a lay person in the sense that you haven't made that commitment from the outset. So wherever you are in your current situation, if you practice or if you do not practice, at least you haven't made that official proclamation that you make when you become a monastic. So, you could say that for a layperson is a different matter. But if you're a monk or a nun and you don't use your time to practice, that is a great sense of shame.
아니 소수 유기 아니 차단원성이 내가 가서다 땅에서 제발나 그때 디고르스 그때 마치바이나 다 하정 탐기고르스 그 신도 때문고 최송 내내 인다는 템벌을 좀 손대 템비 때문에 수준이 nem스는 걸 차오르스.
The commentary to this section says, if one stays obsessed with the causes of infinite cyclic existence and the lower realms, what are the causes for the lower realms. There are afflictive states of mind, anger, attachment, and so forth, the three poisons in the mind stream. Instead of putting the advice given by the all-knowing physician, the Buddha, who knows all the medicines to eliminate the sickness of the afflictions and that liberates from all the pain of the afflictions into practice, then that action is extremely ignorant and the object of criticism. That would be a great sense of shame and pity if we don't do that. Therefore, one should take refuge into the teacher from one's heart and practice the Dhamma shown by him accordingly.
라는 따지는 좋아요. 아니 다 내가 수준이 녀석을 차고 그래서 디베 되게 양가치 따스디 나마도메 상승이 라왕이 따스치키 아니 저버디 아니 융아 이승기 아니 셴레야 포두탄 소르치 저버치 킨데데바나 아니 템버데 용순갈 때 차고 그래서 그래서 and the manga were taught on some lawyer and chicken chicken should be your body and do sound down pardon the Lord Dimala but the same shuji and the chas ones that did and Suzu Luna using Chow culture and it's Shanna Pamadona never give a chico something some of the Lijikin Joanna and then but Susan the number Chelia Sugar is rock.
So if you're a monk or a nun and you have shaven your head, you wear this attire, if you think that that's enough, I'm practicing in a way that accords with the instructions, then that's not the actual practice. So what would be the actual practice? Well, first of all, we'll look at the teachings of the Buddha. And the teachings teach, the essence of those teachings are the two aspects, the aspects of the philosophical view of dependent origination and the practice of non-harmfulness. So if you take that up, those two aspects, and properly put them into practice, then you're practicing the teachings of the Buddha correctly. If you don't do that, and rather than doing that, you take up this attitude as if you're the most important person in the world, there's no one like you, and through that you behave in a way that is abrasive or hurtful to others, you're not practicing in a way that accords with the instructions. And we can see it when we look at this day and age, particularly the events that we're experiencing in this year that illustrates how we're codependent upon each other. Then we need to then take that into consideration in light of the teachings that the Buddha gave that illustrate how the view of dependent origination and the aspect of non-harmfulness in a way, and act in a way that if we can, we want to benefit others, but at the very least, if we cannot do that, then we want to abstain, to desist from harming others. If we then take that to heart into a practice, then we can be considered to be practitioners within the ranks of Buddhists.
Redangan tao denjung xiong, tao denjung xiong, tao denjung ge rinpala ya chala pe mangu. Tayoresta, chala tatuwa di, and nanzulola ya shonya kabu peo, takal kao peo, niya denjung rabe tong song tambay na, and denjung se di koach susem namala ya, karso kachi, 박초보 용약이 아니 고아지는 두 서비스 로 하지만 아주지 아니 니마치 비기 순제에 상담하이나 아니 시행할 때는 용거에 내단 최고라서 추주 까먹하시게 나가고 소소의 비기중에 디 코로나 something 셴 바시가 때문에 아니 총샤가지마도 수주 셴은 마덴바 아니 종수 직선이 말했어. 그래서 딘딩통이 something 당하나 아니 된종세기 이 식대다 식이 단단인데 아니 배 양생도 아니 가주스 된종토 something 당하나 생각해야지 가서 아니 박종우 소리지 링구리스 용구여라스
Dependent origination has so many different levels of coarseness and subtlety. It is hard to get a head around this subtle level of dependent origination, but we can still think of the coarse levels and gain an understanding of the coarse working of dependent origination. In terms of, when we look at the coarsest level of dependent origination, causality, we can see how just when you examine your experiences just within a single day, you can see how whatever happiness and well-being you experience just within a span of a few minutes or a few hours, it can only come about in dependence upon others. None of it can occur independently from others. Whatever happiness, whatever well-being, whatever pleasure we enjoy on a daily basis, when you start to examine that, you can have independence. Start thinking about it in this way, you can marvel in origination are so amazing. And that brings about a sense of quiescence to the mind.